Welcome to Donmar TV News Channel, mga nagbabagong balita sa buwan ng Agosto.
2 weeks. Sec Duque, sabi po ni Attorney Keith, kayo daw yung godfather ng Mafia. Do you have a reaction to that?
I deny this. Absolutely malicious and without basis. I do not wish to dignify that allegation.
All right. Sec Duque, panghuli. Well, yaman din lamang nandito na rin kayo, no? I need to ask you about the Department Memorandum number 2020-0285, suspending the special risk allowance for frontliners. This was actually brought to my attention by a DOH nurse who is now COVID positive. Wala pa silang SRA ngayon, hanggang ngayon, dahil sinuspend ng opisina nyo. So this is the memorandum. And this is an urgent query, Sec Duque. I hope you can do something about it. Sumabay pa po dito sa memorandum na ito, Sec Duque, yung balita na the Philippine government again bans medical workers and allied health professionals from leaving the country during our state of national emergency due to COVID-19. So talagang hands on deck sila dito at dito lamang. And yet, nasuspend yung special risk allowance. I would like this to be my last point, Sec Duque, Mr. Chair, dahil hindi naman tayo nandito na nag-uungkat para lang for the sake of mag-ungkat. No, we're conducting this investigation because people are literally dying and falling sick on a daily basis at para po ito sa kanila. So, Sec Duque, please, is there urgent action you can take about this?
Yes, ma'am. I will certainly address this expeditiously, and it's not clear to me why this was suspended by USEC Roger Tong-An, but I'll meet
Sec, it's your office of the secretary, letterhead. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. What was that? Sorry.
Yes. Well, letterhead po ninyo, Office of the Secretary. And pumirma, yes, si Yusek Tong-An, but by authority of the Secretary of Health. Kaya sa inyo ko po dinadala ito for urgent action on behalf of our frontliners na dapat lang naman siguro no may special risk allowance now that they are bearing additional risk even compared to their usual risk every day.
Yes, Senator. Yes, Your Honor. I will address this. Even now, I'm gonna make the urgent call to address this.
Could your urgent call be to revoke the memorandum, Secretary? The nurse who brought this to my attention already has COVID, contracted from when she has been on duty taking care of us Filipinos sa gitna ng pandemic. Could you please revoke this Department Memorandum Order 2020-0285?
Can you give me just an hour until the action to revoke it is done? An hour.
Yes, please, Secretary, and then please update all of us here in the Committee of the Whole. And I really hope your news for us within an hour will be positive for our frontliners, including that nurse.
Yes, ma'am. I will attend to this immediately.
Salamat, Secretary. Salamat, Mr. President.
I thank you, Senator Hontiveros. With the indulgence of Senator Subiri, there are two other regional vice presidents who are online and just want to make a statement. I was told, so if it's them, they have been here since early this morning. Regional Vice President Makabato, are you there? With the indulgence of Senator Subiri, there are two other regional vice presidents who are online. You're online. Maybe you know who are the other regional vice presidents who are online?
Hello. Hello.
Alonto.
Yung galitaan.
And Chavez, I suppose there are three of you. Regional Vice President Makubato, you wish to make a statement? Regarding an issue brought by Senator Wells? Mr. President. President, referring to that alleged meeting brought out by Mr. Dennis Andre. The alleged meeting in 2004. Would you like to comment on that alleged meeting in the year 2004? Kung meron kayo alam. Go ahead, Mr. Makabato. Go ahead.
Ano yung full na?
Brought out by would you like to that alleged meeting in the year 2004? Meron kayo alam? Go ahead. You're muted right now. There you go. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hear you. Go ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. I would just like to clear my name because the last time that we have this Senate hearing, my name was mentioned as one of the Mafia, although later on it was because of our refusal to be reassigned. I would like to put into record that there are only two instances where I was reassigned. The first one was in 2010, where there was the order was issued during the onset of the election ban. So I was afraid that I might be accused or I must be implicated with possible election cases in the region where I was supposed to be transferred. So I went to court, asked the court to stop my reassignment, and accordingly, a order or injunction, permanent injunction was issued by the Regional Trial Court of Marawi.
When was this?
This was in 2010, and the reason why we were reassigned was because as already of the incident that was already articulated by RBP Adre when we refused to heed the implementation of the another scheme which is very similar to the IRM. And in fact, there was a threat before we were transferred. There was a threat that was cursed through RBP Adre that if we will not agree with the implementation of the policy, they are going to transfer us. And the second instance was during the time of Roy Ferrer. Again, we were again reassigned because of the differences in policy. Then we were also perceived to be one who employs the CA to reject the appointment of then Secretary of YAL. And it was so it was very amazing for us, an ordinary officer of PhilHealth, to employ the CA. That is why we were reassigned. But again, I question this because it did not pass through the process. Because had they consulted me, Mr. Senator, Mr. President, in that hearing last year, I stated that I am a cancer patient, and had they consulted me, then my reassignment would not be pursued because I am a cancer patient and a victim of the Marawi seeds po. Mr. President.
Thank you, RV Regional or RD Makubato. Yes, Senator Subiri, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much to my dear colleagues. Mr. President, I'd like to direct my questions initially to Secretary Duque, if he's still online. He was listening, but
Yes.
Secretary Duque, are you still online? Yes, good afternoon, Secretary.
Yes, can you hear me now, Senator?
Yes,
Okay,
we can.
thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. Secretary, I'm just going to ask two policy questions. These are two policy questions. On the issue on funding for hospitals, you're very familiar, Secretary, on the success on the Bukidnon Provincial Health Indigency Program. As a matter of fact, I believe you were PhilHealth when we were awarded as one of the top health centers in Mindanao, because we were one of the first, Mr. Secretary, if you can recall, that did the no balance billing utilizing the provincial funds. We built 5 hospitals all over Bukidnon, North, Central, and Southern Bukidnon. And we were able to come up with a no balance billing system. We hired our own doctors. We put state-of-the-art equipment. In other words, the focus then of the provincial government was to treat the problem of health, health problems of our people of Bukidnon. Now, the situation is here now with PhilHealth. It's expanded all over the Philippines, but unfortunately, there are many accusations of fraud and leakages leaving the PhilHealth coffers. I actually, in the last hearing, Mr. Secretary, had uncovered about 5 different schemes of leakages or fraudulent schemes, which defraud PhilHealth. One is the rebate or the kickback scheme. The others, the non-existing patients. Others are of course, the ghost patients, the padding and overpricing, as well as schemes within the legal department. But before we tackle that, I'd like to ask you, Secretary, what is the focus of national government? Is the focus particularly on the Philippine health insurance system? Is the focus skewed towards private HCIs or private healthcare institutions? Or shouldn't we focus on the government hospitals, improving government hospitals? Mr. Secretary.
Your earlier statement, I hope you don't mind. What year was that when you said that you had expanded the hospital system of Bukidnon? Was it 2014?
No, Secretary. That was as early as 2005. I think 2005. I think you were still Health Secretary, if I'm not mistaken. We started that system about 2005. You have several actually vice presidents who can testify on that behalf. As a matter of fact, the staff of Senator Pia, was the chairperson of the Committee on Health, had done a field trip to Bukidnon because we were one of the first with the no balance billing payments. But anyway, yeah. So going back to my question, Mr. Secretary, are we scored towards giving the funds more to the private institutions rather than the government institutions? Because as records show, Mr. Secretary, a lot of government institutions are still waiting for their IRM releases as well as improvements in their hospitals. And the reason why I asked the Secretary is, for example, we give a lot of funds to WellMed, to Brown, Avitum, and all that. Why don't we set up the dialysis centers within the government hospital system where we have provincial hospitals and regional hospitals, Secretary?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I believe we have been expanding our dialysis, public sector dialysis centers. Marami na po tayong natulungan year in and year out during the budget season. A lot of capital outlay on dialysis units have been provided by the DBM. And so you're right, we continue to expand the public sector but the way we treat our supply side of the healthcare with PhilHealth as the major financier or funder, we just have to make sure that the outcome of care, whether it's public or private, is of quality. And it's something that the members truly appreciate and are benefited. So that to us is the
Yes.
overarching consideration.
Yes, because Secretary, it saddens me to see, for example, even in our province here in Mindanao, hospitals that were once clinics. That saddens. I'm happy to see it, no, but infirmaries or clinics, private clinics, are now 5-story hospitals because of course, the influx of the PhilHealth program. Whereas I've seen government hospitals deteriorate, no expansion unless the local government units give them the additional funds. They have no equipment. They beg their provinces, they beg the local government units for this equipment. And yet, it seems now as a fact that a lot of our funds in the PhilHealth, especially in the IRM program, is designed to go towards the private sector. I have nothing against that, Mr. Secretary, but I'm a true believer of the Cuban system, the European system, the system that they have in Italy and Spain and in France, where they really strengthen, the state really strengthens their healthcare institutions, and it's free to the public. It's free to the public because government pays for it. My point being, secretaries, we have uncovered a lot of schemes involved mostly in private HCIs. And as one of your staff in the PhilHealth said a week ago, that we are almost bankrupt. PhilHealth is about to be run to the ground if there's no additional government funds infused into the program. Now, ang katanungan ko, Secretary, we need, and yesterday, this came out in the House of Representatives, and this is very clear. In the House of Representatives, lumalabas na billions ay binibigay sa mga ospital sa pribadong sektor na may mga fraudulent cases pa pending sa PhilHealth. Ibig sabihin, may mga kaso na huli na, pending yung mga kaso, and yet, naglalagay pa tayo ng pondo sa kanila. So, walang natatakot because there's no enforcement of the penalty provisions of the law. So, my point now, Secretary, is don't you see a need also policy-wise to strengthen the legal department of the PhilHealth?
Oh, yes, I agree with you, Your Honor, that there has to be a beefing up and augmentation of the legal office of PhilHealth to make more efficient the legal process and to really put those people who are accountable, make them really face the consequences of their nefarious activities. No, if they are proven to be in cahoots.
And yet, Secretary, sorry I have to cut you off, Secretary. I only have 10 minutes, and I would like to ask another resource person. But and yet, Mr. Secretary, are you not surprised why no cases have been filed on several instances? And if there were cases that were filed very lightly, many of them do not even lose their accreditation. They're not even suspended. It's just a mere fine. Aren't you surprised about that, Secretary, policy-wise? Because if you want to plug the leakages, you have to be strong on the implementation of the law and basically also the penal provisions.
I agree with you completely, Mr. Senator. It's just that in some instances, the problem of access hampers management to pursue, say, the revocation of accreditation simply because the next hospital is probably 100, 200 kilometers away. And so what the management has done is, in lieu of the revocation or suspension, was to max out the penalties or fines in terms of monetary penalty.
Correct, Mr. Secretary, but remember in one case, the fine was 100,000 pesos only. And therefore, these hospitals could easily pay the 100,000 pesos, tuloy ang nakawan. And that is my point being, without this proper enforcement of the law, they will continue to steal the money of our PhilHealth program.